ESPN is into its playoff drive. The wild card picture in the NFC will become much clearer after the Cowboys and the Seahawks battle in a must-win game for both clubs. Cowboys-Seahawks live tonight on ESPN. This week on ESPN, the UEFA Champions League continues Wednesday with 2 more from Matchday 6, including Roma versus Real Madrid live. On Thursday, wax your boards for 2 episodes from the WQS surfing circuit. Friday, you got the guts to go all in? These guys and girls sure do. The 2004 World Series of Poker. Then later, Rocky Juarez and Cudi Espadas Jr. battle in a main event special Friday Night Fights. Sports all day, every day on ESPN this week.
Sunday Night Football on ESPN. Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens, and the Eagles continue their march to the playoffs. They're in Washington to face the rugged Redskins defense. Eagles, Redskins, Sunday night at 8:30 Eastern after NFL Prime Time on ESPN.
Jacked Up. Brought to you by the all-new 2005 Dodge Dakota. Log on to ESPN.com and vote for who you think got jacked up.
It's Monday Night Football in Seattle. Cowboys facing the NFC's leading rusher, Shaun Alexander, 4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Tommy, I know you're impressed.
I am ready, but when does Shaun Alexander get to do that?
That's what I was just thinking.
It doesn't matter. Let's get to our lucky Week 13 hit list on Jacked Up. We're going to start off with number 5, the Steelers and the Jaguars, off of a punt return. David Allen going to be catching the ball. Ike Taylor going to be coming at him right down the gun barrel. David Allen looking down the gun barrel. You're going to get his view of things right there. Oh, my. David Allen got jacked up. Number 4, the Dolphins and the Bills. Drew Bledsoe delivering the ball to Damon Shelton. And that's Sam Madison from Louisville. That's right. Watch the hit again. I'm waiting on you guys. There's the dunk and the shoulder right there. Damon Shelton got jacked up. Number 3, the Chiefs and the Raiders. This is Derek Blaylock. Namdi Asamoah. And that is the way you pronounce it. Asamoah. Be the only guy on TV to get it right. Look at that hit right there. Oh! Boy, Derek Blaylock, you see the arms up. Just look at his arms. You know that he got jacked up. Number 2, the 49ers and the Rams. Oh, Kevin Barlow hit by Robert Thomas. And he disappears here. We're going to take 3 more looks at it right there. I love the last one. That's not it. Look at the arrow on his head and watch him disappear right there. He's gone. Kevin Barlow got jacked up. And number 1, the Broncos and the Chargers. Jesse Chapman. Watch out for John Lynch. You don't often see this. Helmet off. Ear pad out on the ground by the helmet. Take another look at it. He's coming. John Lynch is coming, making the hit. And Jesse Chapman got jacked up.
I've been waiting 13 weeks to do that.
John Lynch. Oh, hello.
Ready for some picks?
Oh, yeah, we're always ready.
Well, let's see where we stand. Our lead pipe stand.
Oh, Mike
Dawes maintains his 1-game lead over Michael as we head down the stretch. TJ is still hoping to get the 6th seed in the NFC. Stuart, you can't call it in from the tee box.
Oh, Stu.
I'm a perfect go-winner.
Perfect. All right.
Here it is. The lead pipe stays at this corner of the table. The Seattle Seahawks lead the NFL with 17 interceptions. Going up against Vinny and maybe Drew Henson, I'm going with the Seahawks.
Hey, man, I'm taking the Seahawks also. I'm taking the Seahawks. Shaun Alexander, he should be able to run the ball tonight.
They also lead the league in drop passes. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys.
And the right side of the desk.
The right side of the desk. Right. Suze?
I'm also taking Dallas, and I am, after all, perfect.
That's it.
Stuart from the T-Box picked the Seahawks. By the way, keep track of that for next week. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Wild West battle. Players and fans, come on, everybody. old U.S. of A. Come on and hit it. Come on and get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night tradition. The NFL Big Show, 35th edition. Al and John are ready. The whole country's psyched. All my running friends are here for Monday night.
Welcome to this Week 13 edition of Monday Night Football on ESPN, coming to you from Seattle, Washington, home of the Seahawks as they get ready to host the Dallas Cowboys. Mark Brown with you from now from our ESPN studio. As at 6-6, so all these teams with sub-500 records still with plenty of a chance to perhaps grab a wild card spot. So as poorly as the Cowboys have played this season with just a 4-7 record, they are not out of the wild card race. So the Cowboys definitely with something to play for. As for the Seahawks, they could find themselves in the wild card race if they don't find a way to win some ball games. The Rams are just a half a game behind them for first place in the NFC West. So the Seahawks, once thought to be a contender for the Super Bowl, well, they've certainly got some work to do. Vinny Testaverde, 41 years young, will make his 200th career start tonight. Matt Hasselbeck for the Seahawks in his 6th season, coming off a brilliant year last year, but hasn't been able to follow it up this year. As for Vinny Testaverde, he wasn't expected to be the starter. He was signed in the offseason to come in and back up, help his old coach, Bill Parcells. Turns out he's the best thing the Cowboys got at quarterback. And he's got 12 touchdown passes on the season, but has been a problem with interceptions, as has been throughout Vinny's career. As for Hasselbeck, 3,800 yards passing and 26 touchdowns last year, but this year has taken a major step back. Sure, his receivers have dropped some balls, but Hasselbeck with a 54% completion percentage is not real strong, and he hasn't got a whole lot of touchdown passes as compared to interceptions either. As we look at the numbers between these two quarterbacks, middle of the road at best for these two guys. Sure, each one of them is capable of throwing for 350 yards on any given game, but so far it has been a struggle for these two veterans, as it has been for their teams. Well, Julius Jones may be the future star running back for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk a little more about him as we work our way to the opening kickoff of Monday Night Football.
Three minutes of punishment. 10 rounds of action. And sometimes you can describe them as the best rounds of the year. We're searching through our collection and choosing what we consider to be the best of Friday night fights. Every week, only on ESPN.
The Seattle Seahawks staying together despite some disappointment in this season. Only 6-5 coming in. They had their sights set on the Super Bowl. Not too late to turn their season around. They'll try to do it right here on Monday Night Football. As for the Cowboys at 4-7, it's been a struggle, but rookie running back from Notre Dame, Julius Jones, has shown a big flash of what the future may hold for the Cowboys running game. Last week against the Bears, he broke out. Look at the quickness here. Going straight up the middle for a 33-yard touchdown run, one of 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. The other a 4-yarder in a 21-7 victory over Chicago for the Cowboys. 33 carries for Jones on the day, 150 yards, average 4.5 per. Outstanding work. Obviously, the Cowboys had signed Eddie George in the offseason, but that performance has got to prove it's time to give the ball to Jones at least 20 times a game from here on out if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Well, Shaun Alexander, though, on the Seattle side is clearly the class of the matchup here, as he, the longtime veteran and productive guy, has gotten himself into the end zone on 10 occasions this year. And in fact, he's got a few games where he has had multiple touchdown performances. In fact, 4 times this season, he has gotten in at least twice, and some of those have been in the air as well on receiving touchdowns. With his 1,190 yards are #1 in the NFC, and They are number 4 overall in the NFL. And since 2001, 17 multi-touchdown games for Sean Alexander. Only Priest Holmes has more in that period of time. So 2 explosive running backs will be going at it. And oh yeah, Jerry Rice. He's moved over to the Seahawks, and he'll be in action for another Monday Night Football matchup. The Cowboys and Seahawks coming up.
Third down and 5 from the 32-yard line. The pass is caught by Isaac Cruz, who loses the ball after picking up the first down, and it is picked up and run all the way back for a touchdown.
Trade away an all-star center. A defense from Christie. Bryant tries it again. Christie played him beautifully, but Bryant wouldn't take no for an answer.
Great job by that offensive line. This to take the lead from 42.
They blocked it.
It was Langston Walker. What a huge, huge play.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Just about ready to get started. Monday Night Football on ESPN. The Cowboys and Seahawks from Quest Field in Seattle. And really a must-win for both teams. The Cowboys needed just to get anywhere near 500. The Seahawks are trying to hold on to first place in the NFC West. Seahawks coming in off a loss last week. The Cowboys at Thanksgiving broke a 3-game losing streak with that impressive win over the Bears. About ready for the opening kickoff. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya are at Quest Field. Let's send it out to them.
Recently retired Seattle Mariner Edgar Martinez kind of redefined the designated hitter role, had a tremendous career, and the honor is accorded to Edgar Martinez tonight. And look at that, at Safeco Field next door. A happy 35th anniversary to us and to the Mariner organization and the folks responsible. We thank you. That's a great sight.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah.
And right next door we come now to Quest Field. You'd never know this team is coming off its worst performance of the year. They lost to Buffalo last week 38-9. The crowd is stoked. The Seahawks kick off. Josh Brown puts it in the air. And Terrence Copper will take it back from the 10-yard line, and he's made a mark on special teams. Ball came out for the moment, but he recovers it himself at the 22-yard line. And let's take a look at the Dallas offense.
Vinny Testaverde, University of Miami. Julius Jones, Notre Dame.
Darian Barnes, Hampton University.
Keyshawn Johnson, University of Southern California.
Quincy Moore, Kansas State.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
Clovell Adams, Michigan State.
Larry Allen, Sonoma State.
Al Johnson, Wisconsin.
Andre Gerard, University of Colorado.
Torrance Tucker, Southern Michigan.
So the Cowboys and Vinny Testaverde, who did not start on Thanksgiving Day, hurt his back in the game against Baltimore. Drew Henson got the start, played a half, and then Vinny came on in the second half to guide them to the win. And right off the bat, they go to Julius Jones, who breaks the first tackle and then picks up 2 to the 24-yard line. Here is the Seattle starting defense.
Chico Kiefer, Purdue. Cedric Porter, Texas Longhorns. Marcus Tubbs, Texas.
Grant Wistrom, University of Nebraska. Isaiah Kazavinsky, the Harvard University.
Orlando Huff, Fresno State. Solomon Bates, Arizona State.
Marcus Trufant, Washington State.
Terrell Guerra, University of Georgia. Ken Hamlin, Fraser High School.
Ken Lucas, Ole Miss.
That defense missing its top 4 linebackers. Second down and 8. And Julius Jones running right through the middle, and those linebackers will be important for Seattle tonight with all of the injuries, topped off by Chad Brown as they try to work defensively, of course, against this guy. And no question, Johnny's going to see a heavy dose with those 63 carries in his first 2 games.
Yeah, and I think it may not come until the 3rd or 4th quarter when he has success, because one thing I know Ray Rhodes is going to do, the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, on running downs, He's going to put 8 guys up there and make it very, very difficult for Julius Jones to run.
Had 8 up on that second play. And a run blitz on first down. Now 3rd and 5. And on this passing down, they swing the ball out, juggled, and then dropped. So Jones had it and then dropped it. Solomon Bates, the linebacker, with the coverage, and Dallas is 3 and out.
The other thing you know about this Seattle defense are going to be heavy blitz. So Vinny Testaverde on his first pass is trying to get there, get back, get it out of there quickly to Julius Jones, and he just couldn't find the handle on that one.
Matt McBriar in his first year, grew up in Australia, actually was in the Seahawk training camp for a while last summer. Floats one down to the 31-yard line. This is Maurice Morris. And Morris is able to break free, dances down the sidelines. Good return into Dallas territory. Tackled at the 44-yard line after a 25-yard run back. And here is the Seattle offense.
Matt Hassel. It's very Boston.
Sean Alexander, the University of Alabama.
Max Strong, Georgia.
Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley State.
D-Jack, Florida Gator.
Itula Mili, Laie Elementary.
Walter Jones, Florida State.
Steve Hutchinson, Michigan.
Rob Toback, Wazoo. Chris Gray, Auburn University.
Chris Terry, Georgia.
I knew sooner or later we'd get down to grade school. I knew it had to happen. Laie Elementary.
What's the next step?
Next step is preschool. This is the guy who calls himself D-Jack. It's Darrell Jackson, who gains 9 yards to the 37. Let's take a look at the Cowboy defense.
Greg Ellis, UNC. Leo Carson, Auburn. Roy Glover, San Diego State.
That dude, Columbia. Al Singleton, Temple University.
Dad Wynn, Texas A&M.
Dexter Coakley, Appalachian State.
Terrence Newman, Kansas State.
Lynn Scott, Northwestern Oklahoma State.
Roy Williams, University of Oklahoma.
Lance Frazier, West Virginia University.
Lance Frazier figures to have his hands full tonight at corner. And on 2nd and 1, they give the ball to the fullback, Max Strong. Good blocker. Carries once in a while. Mike Holmgren's team has a first down. Mike now in his 6th season as the head coach at Seattle. Boy, that time really flies when you think of it in those terms. It's not that long ago that Mike's patrolling the sidelines. And, of course, Bill Parcells, after retiring, came back in his 2nd year now with Dallas, 10-6 last year. And this year trying to hang on. And they're still hanging on because somebody that winds up 8-8 figures to make the playoffs in the NFC. Hasselbeck throws, and that's caught just short of the first down, pulled in by Bobby Ingram.
You know, it's interesting. The Seattle Seahawks on their last 2 first downs have come out in 3 wide receivers. And on 2nd down, they would go to a normal tight end and run the ball. In fact, they're doing the same thing on this series. And this is a Mike Holmgren type of thing. You know, here's a receiver, here's a receiver, here's a receiver, and you have this thing. You kind of spread them out, get that defense spread out, and then throw the ball. It's also not a bad running formation.
3 wide receivers in this set on 2nd and 2 to the ground. And this is Alexander leading the league in rushing coming into this weekend. Alexander tackled by Carson. For Sean Alexander, he's a guy who's done very well over the past 4 years, but because Seattle's only been to the playoffs once, because a lot of the league considers this a geographical outpost. You don't know that much about him, but there are his numbers right now. He's 4th currently, but remember, most of the other guys have played 1 more game than him, that game being yesterday.
Right, and Mike Holmgren was saying that, you know, a lot of his players aren't having their best year, but one that is having a better year than even Mike Holmgren expected is Sean Alexander.
3rd down and 1, and they're going to throw it. And Hasselbeck has some time, has to roll out now, and then throws into the end zone with a flag. For the moment, it's a touchdown, but Dallas is going to contend that Jerry Rice pushed off. So for the moment, you've got Rice in for what he thinks is 6, but let's see about the call. There was clearly contact. Nathan Jones is the defensive back. He is a rookie out of Rutgers against a 20-year all-timer.
Defense. The penalties decline. Touchdown.
Against the rookie.
Only Jerry Rice on Monday night. He was open early on this
this one. You see him right here. He's the inside receiver. Very good coming off the line of scrimmage. But you see he was wide open all the way. Hasselbeck had to scramble out to his right, and that gave Jerry Rice a little time to see that he was scrambling and then work back to the inside. You know, Jerry Rice, I mean, he slowed down a little, but he's still great getting away from the press.
Josh Brown, point after, 207 touchdowns now in his career, 196 through the air. It's Monday night. It's Jerry Rice. What else is new? 7-0. Third down and 5 from the 32-yard line. The pass is caught by Isaac Bruce, who loses the ball after picking up the first down, and it is picked up and run all the way back for a touchdown.
Trade away an all-star center of the defense from Christie. Bryant tries it again. Christie played him beautifully, but Bryant wouldn't take no for an answer.
Great job by that offensive line. This to take the lead from 42.
It blocked it.
It was Langston Walker. What a huge, huge play. Well, Jerry Rice just caught a 27-yard touchdown pass from Matt Hasselbeck, and you can see where he is on the all-time combined yards list, just barely ahead of Brian Mitchell. Rice, of course, got most of those yards through the air receiving, but he's carried it a few times and returned a couple of kicks.
5 degrees and dry after a very rainy weekend. Could have some moisture before this one is done. 7-0 Hawks on top. Rashard Lee will run it back, and they get taken down at the 24-yard line by Curtis Randall. We refer to him as Mr. Monday Night in the opening tease tonight. Take a look at some of the things he has done on this series through the years. 45 games. That's almost 3 full seasons worth of games. Almost 4,000 yards, 36 touchdowns on Monday night alone.
You know, when you put him in his place, you say, what is it? It's the best wide receiver that's ever played the game. And I don't know who second would be.
Way behind, whoever it is. Jerry started the season, as most of you know, with Oakland. And then the trade with Seattle in mid-year to become, in effect, the number 3 guy. But now he starts. And this is Jones. And Jones showing what he can do inside the 40 and finally chased down behind as Larry Allen threw the block, and finally Ken Hamlin is able to run him down. So Rice does his thing, and here comes the rookie to do his. 53 yards.
Flozell Adams, the left tackle, makes a nice block. He's going to block down, and then watch Larry Allen pull out here. Big 73 right there. But when he gets that block, he just knocks Kazavinsky to the outside. Julius Jones just waits, runs right off of Larry Allen's block, and then takes it up the field. When you have a left side like that, that's where you want to run the ball.
Now at the Seattle 23, Testaverde, the play fake to buy time. Good protection, going for the end zone. And Keyshawn Johnson can't come down with it. Good coverage by Marcus Trufant, their #1 draft choice out of Washington State. Had position, the ball hung a little bit, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Hey, Keyshawn is going to run a corner here. You see him, you start up and then back to the corner. Trufant is playing off him. He's playing in a zone, so he comes into Trufant's zone. He just goes back and back, and he out-jumps him. Like if that ball maybe was thrown a little deeper, Keyshawn may have had a better chance at it. If that ball was thrown to the back pylon, It could have been a touchdown.
2nd down and 10. Jones, 121, gets taken down by another Ken Lucas. Jones, and Michelle talked about it, with a broken scapula. Then he comes back. He has 30 carries against the Ravens, and then 4 days later 33 against the Bears. Only Emmett Smith would be in that category. He did it on corresponding weeks during the 91 season. Mike Anderson, LaDainian Tomlinson, the others who share in that mark. But this is a guy who earlier in that week against the Ravens was listed as out. Then he became doubtful. Then he carries 30 times.
Right, and then Bill Parcells says, you know, I can't do that every week. I can't have this guy carry the ball 30 times. And he said, but he'll probably do it tonight, though.
3rd down and 8. Vinny over the middle, and that's dropped over the middle of the 18-yard line as he tries to throw it into Julius Jones. So Jones's run puts them in position to get into the end zone, or at least to the red zone, and now they're forced to try an intermediate depth field goal.
You know, and that's where they missed Richie Anderson. You know, Julius Jones wouldn't have been in there on that 3rd down passing down. That ball would have been thrown to Richie Anderson, and so far Julius Jones has 2 drops.
Parcells barking at Jones as he came off. Billy Cundiff now. This will be a 39-yard attempt. Drew Henson will set it down. And Cundiff's kick is just good, just inside the left upright. So Dallas is able to answer with 3, 8:49 remaining in the period. And the Seahawks are on top 7-3 on Monday Night Football.
The NFL on ESPN. 2 games each and every week. Oh, that hurts. These guys are tough. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Oh. The NFL on ESPN. Simply the finest football on the planet. The top clubs. The elite players. In a quest for the ultimate prize of European football. The UEFA Champions League on ESPN.
We head to the gridiron for NFL Sunday Night Football, where the Oakland Raiders upset their divisional rivals, the Denver Broncos, in the snow. Kerry Collins led the attack, throwing for 339 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Jerry Porter caught 3 of them, including the game winner, as the Raiders won 25-24. ESPN celebrates the Oakland Raiders, our athletes of the week. The NBA on ESPN continues Friday. Allen Iverson and the 76ers, succeeding in the talent-filled East, face the Chicago Bulls. Sixers versus Bulls, live Friday. The NBA on ESPN.
Well, with a win tonight, the Dallas Cowboys could tie the Miami Dolphins with 38 Monday Night Football victories. That would be the most all time. Right now, they are trailing 7-3 at the hands of the Seahawks.
Cowboys to kick off. Cundiff sends it down to Maurice Morris. And they push Morris to the side, and he goes out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. Matt Hasselbeck coming in, his brother Tim, number 3 quarterback for Joe Gibbs at Washington. He had a good year last year, went to the Pro Bowl, in fact. Father played tight end for the Patriots years ago. Knows Bill Parcells from way back, was one of the ball boys when Bill was in New England. Went to Boston College. Remember, Hasselbeck started at Green Bay. When Holmgren was there, he was the backup to Favre, and then came to Seattle to get reunited with Mike. And right now the question is, how healthy is he? How effective can he be? So far so good tonight. First down from the 21-yard line, and that's incomplete. And John, he suffered a severe, what they call Charlie horse, thigh bruise, ribs as well, and that cost him a start against Miami recently.
Right, and it was on his right knee and his right ribs and his whole right side. But he said that he feels pretty good tonight. Watch Greg Ellis here. He's going to make a good move on this. Looks like he's going to go to the outside. You start up to the outside, club him right to the inside, and then go right around him. I mean, he put a move on Chris Terry. I mean, he clubbed him with that left arm and just knocked him about 3 yards.
Ellis having a Pro Bowl type season as Alexander doesn't find much room off the left side, setting up 3rd down and long.
You know, getting back to Hasselbeck, I think that, you know, that he lost a little confidence too. I mean, he had a great year last year. Like you said, he was in the Pro Bowl, and then that whole Ram thing, you know, when they lost to the Rams came back and, you know, beat them there at the end of the game. I think the whole team lost a little confidence. Then his receivers started dropping balls on all. You know, you try and say the right things and do the right things, but it's tough.
3rd and 9, and that pass, Jerry Rice reaching out, makes the catch. Jerry Rice at the age of 42, still covered well down the sideline, pass a little bit in front of him, is able to fingertip it and beats Lance Frazier and Roy Williams on the play.
Here's Jerry Rice out here. You're going to see that hole right there in the cover two between the short corner and the safety, and he hit him perfectly in that hole. I was watching practice the other day, and they were throwing this pass a lot, that once you get by the corner, before you get to the safety, you have about a 5-yard gap.
They've got Alexander pushed back right off the bat by Leonardo Carson. So there is Jerry Rice, already full of chalk and sweat, but he has a touchdown. He has 2 catches and 44 yards receiving tonight.
You know, there's a lot of things great about Jerry Rice, and you can, you know, say all the accolades, but the thing that always impressed me about him is his work ethic. You know, you say that, you know, he made this great catch, he's caught this many balls and won this many games, but you know what? He probably works harder than any wide receiver has ever worked in history.
2nd down and 11 as they empty the backfield here. Moving up front, this will be a free play for Seattle. Nice move by Hasselbeck to duck away from a sack. And then the free play turns out to be an interception that won't mean a thing, and Roy Williams knows it. Greg Ellis put the pressure that time on the quarterback, but it was a free play.
Defense, number 98, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Greg Ellis should have been the guy to put the pressure on, because he was the guy that jumped off sides. And Matt Hasselbeck was smart here. If you have a free play like this, then go deep. I mean, just don't throw some dump-off thing. And you see Greg Ellis got caught in the neutral zone. Hasselbeck knew, as you said, he had a free one. And if I have a free one, let's go for a big one. Roy Williams intercepts it. Like you said, he knew that one wasn't going to count.
Right off the bat. 61 passing yards for Seattle, 60 rushing yards, and nothing in the air thus far for Dallas on 2nd and 6. Hasselbeck under pressure again, and Leroy Glover comes in his 9th year out of San Diego State, playing very well. Iron Man along that defensive front, gets in there for the sack.
Yeah, we saw Greg Ellis do it to Chris Terry, and here you're going to see Leroy Glover do it to Chris Gray. He's right here. You see, here he is right here. Here's Chris Gray, and what they're doing is they're just getting off on the ball and clubbing him. You see, start with one move right into him, and then just take one arm and just throw him off with that arm.
92nd straight start for the Iron Man Glover, most for any defensive lineman in the league. On 3rd down and 12 now. Hasselbeck hangs in, throws, caught, 1st down into Dallas territory. Etulamili, the tight end. He of La EA Elementary School and subsequently BYU fame. 18 yards, 1st down.
You know, and that's the type of thing. That's what you always look for in the zone. You're going to see Mealy just come here, get by the linebackers and in front of the secondary. And it was a zone defense, and that's an area that a quarterback will usually look to when he reads zone defense.
Mealy still the starter. They drafted Jeremy Stevens a year ago, number 1, but Mealy has fended it off and fended him off with ease to this point. Short pickup through the middle. Sean Alexander unable to get on track thus far as their basic running back. Their big back has now carried the ball a total of 4 times for only 3 yards.
Well, that's one of the things that the Cowboys are taking away. And remember, Bill Parcells said last night, he said, I expect them to kind of spread us out and then try and run it. That's what they did on that last play. They had 4 wide receivers, tried to spread the Cowboy defense out and run in the middle. The Cowboy defense just didn't spread out.
2nd down and 8. Here's a draw to Alexander. And this time he's able to do a little bit of running as Greg Ellis makes the tackle, but they'll still come up a little bit short of the 1st down.
Yeah, we talk about a running back have to be patient all the time. Watch Sean Alexander here. This is going to be a run blitz. You're going to see the blitz here. Now, he has to let stuff develop because he has a little trap there. So he waited for that trap to come, made a little move to the right, then a little move to the left, and just the patience picked up about 5 yards. That's tough. When you run a play right into a run blitz and make 5 yards, that's pretty good running.
3rd down and 2 against the 4-man front here. And a 4-man rush. And a 1st down as that's caught by Darrell Jackson. And Jackson is inside the 10 and flushed out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. So Darrell Jackson turns a short gain into a long gain and a 1st and goal.
Yeah, he started over on the left side, and he comes across the formation. You're going to see him here. He starts on the left side, comes all the way across, runs a shallow cross, catches the ball there, makes a real good move there, gets to the outside, and turns on the afterburner. Yeah, that's a big play in this West Coast offense, is that shallow cross. We see Jackson do it there. Over the years, no one ran that pattern better than Jerry Rice.
35 yards. Play fake, throw, caught. Jackson, touchdown. The Seahawks converting 3rd downs along the way. They've converted 4 in the game to this point, and on top, 13-3.
Well, he looked like Darrell Jackson right here. He just turns Terrence Newman around. Newman sees him to the inside, then he thinks he's going outside, and Newman falls down. And boy, does Hasselbeck drill that thing in there. The minute that he sees that move on Terrence Newman, he gives Jackson the ball.
Josh Brown for the extra point. Hasselbeck has started the game 7 of 8 for 116 yards. Hot start for the Seahawks. 14-3 Seattle.
Cruz, who loses the ball after picking up the 1st down, and it is picked up and run all the way back for a touchdown.
Trade away an all-star center. A defense from Christie. Bryant tries it again. Christie played him beautifully, but Bryant wouldn't take no for an answer.
Great job by that offensive line. This to take the lead from 42.
They blocked it. It was Langston Walker.
What a huge, huge play. Head to the gridiron for NFL Sunday Night Football, where the Oakland Raiders upset their divisional rivals, the Denver Broncos, in the snow. Kerry Collins led the attack, throwing for 339 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Jerry Porter caught 3 of them, including the game winner, as the Raiders won 25-24. ESPN celebrates the Oakland Raiders, our athletes of the week.
It was a busy week on the UEFA Champions League front, and now we know the identities of the 16 teams in the draw for the first knockout round. Our reaction to what happened on match day 6 on the next edition of ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass on Friday on ESPN.
We'll be in Nashville a week from tonight. Kansas City coming off its win yesterday over Oakland, taking on Tennessee. Question about Steve McNair. Don't know if he'll play or not. But Steve McNair and the Tennessee Titans at home against Kansas City next week. Josh Brown to kick off for the Seahawks. That's taken by Rashard Lee from the 5. Up to the 31-yard line, 26-yard return, and that's where the Dallas Cowboys will take over late in the first quarter as they trail Seattle by 11 on Monday night.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe, a great tennis player, had a greater concern for bettering the world and the plight of those who didn't have a say in their own civil freedoms.
People who could have made contributions to the world who were suppressed because of color. He felt it very appalling that Nelson Mandela would spend time in jail for what he believed.
I count February 11th, 1990 as one of the happiest days of my life, watching Mr. Mandela come out of prison. Obviously, I feel a part of the community of people who helped bring that about.
Arthur Ashe died on February 6, 1993, after a struggle with AIDS brought on by a blood transfusion following one of his 2 heart attacks. He was 49.
In tennis, the only way to get better is to play somebody who's better than you are. And Arthur served that purpose for a lot of people, not just in tennis, but in life.
Simply the finest football on the planet. The top clubs, the elite players, in a quest for the ultimate prize of European football. The UEFA Champions League on ESPN.
Friday Night Fight special event. With 44 bouts under his belt, Cootie Espada will try to teach a lesson to the 6th-ranked featherweight in the world, but Rocky Juarez is hoping to take over the classroom with his 15th knockout. Friday Night Fight special event on ESPN.
There's your matchup on ESPN Sunday Night Football. Those Eagles, those unstoppable Eagles, taking on the Washington Redskins. What a performance yesterday by Donovan McNabb and company, routing Green Bay. Now Dallas from the 31-yard line, trailing 14-3 with Testaverde at the helm. Throwing, caught. Tight end Jason Witten's been a big part of their offense and one of Vinny's favorite receivers. Testaverde, remember, came to Dallas from the Jets, and he was going to be the backup to Quincy Carter, but then Carter, in failing a drug test, Bill Parcells couldn't trust him, released Carter. That was the big story in training camp. And all of a sudden, here came Vinny, at that point 40 years old, in as the starter. Clearly not the long-term answer. They hope that Drew Henson will be the long-term answer, as Jones threw the middle close to a first down. So Henson finally gets the start because Testaverde got banged up, and there is Drew, the former Yankee farmhand, who was out of football for 3.5 years. So Henson gets the start on Thanksgiving Day. Doesn't perform very well against Chicago. And Parcells has to win the game. He said the best chance to win the game. He puts Vinny back in. But sooner or later, John, they're going to have to find out about Henson.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that begs the question, when do you have to find out, and what are you going to find out? I'm not sure that he is the quarterback of the future.
I don't think anybody with the Dallas organization is quite sure yet. And this is Jones fighting for a first down and then gang tackled. And the question is, did he get it? Nico Cudevette, the middle linebacker, is the first guy there. It was 3rd down and 1. And they didn't get it.
Well, you know one thing about Ray Rhodes, he's going to overload that right defensive side because he expects when they're going to run, this is where they're going to come because of Larry Allen and Flozell Adams. So he's going to have something special. He's going to have everyone running and getting to that hole because he knows that when they need a yard or two, they're going to run to their left.
They ran to the left, and that's the 5th straight time Dallas has failed on a 3rd and 1. Remember, earlier in the season, it was Eddie George who was successful a lot on 3rd and 1, but that's a problem for them now as Matt McBriar's second punt of the night is a short one. Caught at the 27 by Maurice Morris, who falls forward to the 29. So the Seattle D does its job. The O comes back out, and they're up 14-3 in the Pacific Northwest.
10 rounds of action. We're searching through our collection and choosing what we consider to be the best of Friday night fights. Every week, only on ESPN.
Simply the finest football on the planet. ESPN continues full-day coverage of the UEFA Champions League all the way through the championship game in May. ESPN, the home of the UEFA Champions League.
The NBA on ESPN continues Friday. Allen Iverson and the 76ers, succeeding in the talent-filled East, face the Chicago Bulls. Sixers versus Bulls, live Friday. The NBA on ESPN.
Steve Largent's number 80 has been retired. The great Seahawk receiver went to the Hall of Fame, became a congressman subsequent to retirement, honored here in their Ring of Honor. And Jerry Rice called him and asked if he could borrow number 80. And Largent said, I'd be honored. And that's why Jerry Rice gets his old 80 back, at least for the balance of his Seahawk career. Alexander stopped in his tracks here.
You know, we talk about Larry Allen being a great offensive lineman, and the Seattle Seahawks have one on their own. Walter Jones, a left tackle. Watch him. I mean, he's that guy that holds out all the time and never comes to training camp, and then just comes and just takes his guy and stays with him and drives him and drives him and drives him about 7 yards down the field. This guy is something very special, maybe the best tackle in football.
He and Jonathan Ogden will be in that very elite group. Second down and 11. Ogden playing with the Ravens as Hasselbeck starts up to the line of scrimmage and flips it outside. Caught by Alexander, and Sean is tackled up at the 36-yard line. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, talking about Jerry Rice, I spoke with Seahawks wide receivers coach Nolan Cromwell, and he said ever since Rice got here, he can see all the other younger receivers watching everything he does. And he said the biggest thing Rice demonstrates is patience. Patience running his routes, patience off his releases, patience catching the ball, and even the way he works guys when he runs his routes. So Cromwell hopes that his young receivers know if they're patient and they work their routes, they can excel.
Jerry Rice, the ultimate role model. Seattle now 3rd down and 3. And they're 4 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. And now they'll be 4 out of 5 thanks to Leroy Glover with a big sack, and that'll force a punt. And play resumes in the 2nd quarter. We've played 1 in Seattle.